In his great book, Gentle and Lowly, author and pastor Dane Ortland points out that in the entirety of the Gospels, 89 chapters in all, there is only one place where Jesus describes his own heart. This is what he says: "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." Matthew 11:29. This verse doesn't just tell us that Jesus does gentle things, it tells us his very heart is gentle. It is, as Ortland goes on to say, his very identity. It is who he is. And it should come as no surprise then to hear that those who are filled with his Spirit are gentle too. And like him, it is our hearts and not just our actions that should be gentle. The trouble for us who are leaders is that we've confused leadership categories. We think that being strong leaders means being harsh, even though we wouldn't use that word. And so we extol virtues like firmness or rigid determination. We honour those who are so single-minded that they seem not to care who they leave by the side of the road. These are qualities we particularly see and even value in those serving in start-up situations or places where ministry is just very hard. But to serve and lead like that is not to follow our chief shepherd. It's not. It is not to share his heart, which is a heart of gentleness. At the other end of the spectrum, we should not confuse gentleness with either timidity or being reticent to speak out. Jesus was, of course, neither. He is the perfect model for a spirit-filled leader to follow. But whether speaking in encouragement or rebuke, whether acting with determination or exercising restraint, he always does so with a gentle heart. Brothers and sisters, this must be our heart too, but it can only be so when we are filled with the Spirit. Without him, our actions will be inconsistent at best, or motivated by harshness, exasperation and anger at worst. Here's a further aspect of gentleness, which I find particularly useful. The Go-To Greek dictionary, BDAG, defines the word in this way: not being overly impressed by a sense of one's own importance. Isn't that great? As a definition I find really challenging. We therefore, as leaders, we don't avoid confrontation when it's needed, nor strong words when they are needed. But we do so in the right spirit, which is one of humility, not being overly impressed with a sense of our own importance. Paul tells young Pastor Timothy that gentleness is a characteristic he must actively pursue, which is yet another reminder that this fruit is not our natural state. He even tells Timothy that this is the spirit in which he must deal with his opponents. This is the way that they will be won over. And without Christ, we would not be gentle. We would break off the bruised reed. We would snuff out the smouldering wick. If we're going to act and lead in gentleness, we can only do so when we are filled with the spirit of our gentle Saviour. Back in that Matthew quote, Jesus encourages us to learn from him. Will you do so?